For those of you who don't know, I am a WordPress, Wix, and Squarespace expert with a Bachelor's of Science degree in web design and development. I love creating fun and enjoyable content that people can watch at their own pace and learn more about web design and development. So today we are going to be looking at the WP Rocket plugin, recognized as the most powerful caching plugin by WordPress experts to date. So we will be talking a lot about the history of this plugin, what it's used for, and some of the pros and cons of using the plugin. And I'll also throw in a little review of my own at the end of this video. So as a newer web developer, it's very valuable to understand the importance of load time speeds and the overall performance of your website. So before we even begin this walkthrough of the WP Rocket plugin, let me start off by explaining cache for those of you who aren't quite familiar with the term. Caching is a critical method to boost website performance and loading times. It is especially valuable when you are running your websites on web publishing software such as WordPress. So what is caching? Cache in layman's terms is hardware or software that stores copies of files in the cache or temporary storage location so that when future requests for the data occur, the data can be served or accessed more quickly. So to put it even more simply, a cache is any sort of temporary storage location for copies of files or data. Caching minimizes the amount of data that needs to flow between the browser, the database, and the web server, which translates into faster loading times. And that's what we want. So without using the plugin, when users from around the world find your website, WordPress generates content dynamically, which means it requests fresh information about a page every time a visitor views the page. And so it's running through a lot of code. In most cases, this is unnecessary as your blog posts and pages don't really change once they're published unless you manually edit them. Now, using this caching plugin creates a static version of your content and shows it to your users, which really means that when users come to your website again, they will see the cached version, which should be faster. And that's what I will demonstrate for you with the WP Rocket plugin. Now, something many newer developers don't really think about is how caching also plays a huge role in search engine optimization, as Google announced that website loading times play a key role in your search engine ranking. So now that we have a better understanding of how important caching is for websites, let's talk about the WP Rocket plugin and some of the history behind it. Just a little bit of history. As a web developer, I believe it's really important to give a shout out to the developers behind these awesome plugins. These guys found problems with the complexity of caching plugins in the past, and they decided to do something about it. So they solved the problem in 2013 with their own plugin that is available to all without the need of very technical coding skills. Now, let's go straight into installing the WP Rocket plugin. So go ahead and head over to your website that you have created. This is my website that I created for demonstration purposes using WordPress and hosted on SiteGround. This was made using Astra themes and Elementor, so there's a lot of code in the background. There's some videos going on, a gallery, a lot of visuals for my blog posts, and obviously I haven't posted anything because I just created this yesterday. So here's the About Me page, and as you can see, it took some time to load there. And now hopefully by the time we install WP Rocket, this will fix some of those load times. So let's go ahead and head over to GTmetrix, where we can take a screenshot of my website performance. And go ahead and test your site, put in your URL, and it's going to take some time to load. And as you can see here, my performance scores are not so great. I have a fully loaded time of 7.2 seconds, which is a lot.
Again, I believe this is due to the fact that I have videos playing in the background of my website. So of course I get a grade F for my optimized images, and as you can see, it gives you a pretty detailed uh, info regarding your website performance. And I really suggest using GTmetrix to look up your website speed, your page size, and this way you can take a screenshot, and hopefully once you install WP Rocket, notice a difference in fully loaded time. Typically, you won't see as much of a difference in page speed score. You out of the box, you're not going to see much of a difference, but you'll see further on the video when we mess with the settings that hopefully you'll get A grade for page speed score. Go ahead and head over to your WordPress website, and you're going to add new plugin, install. And so unlike plugins that you'll usually download from wordpress.org, you'll have to upload the plugin to your website manually. So once you have it installed, go ahead and activate WP Rocket. Once you have activated WP Rocket, go ahead and go into Settings and scroll down to the dashboard, and then you should see, congratulations, WP Rocket is now activated and already working for you. So your website should already be loading faster out of the box. So let's go and test that, shall we? As you can see here, nothing changed that much, although my fully loaded time is now 5.8 seconds as opposed to the 7.2 earlier. It didn't really make much of a difference for me. So how can we change this even more? How can we make the website even more faster and stronger? Let's do this. Let's go to the WP Rocket dashboard. Go ahead and click on a file optimization. What we're going to do here is do some revolutionary switches to our website. So we're going to minify the HTML. You know what this does? This removes the white space and comments to reduce the size. Now go ahead and minify the CSS files and do this at your own risk. It may break your website, it may not. I'm going to do it anyways. Once you do that, you're going to combine the CSS files, activate combine, going to optimize them. So this eliminates the render blocking CSS on your website for faster perceived load time. And now to your JavaScript files, we're going to remove the jQuery migrate, eliminates the J file and can improve the load time. We're going to minify JavaScript files, which again removes the white space and comments that you don't really need. And we're going to combine the JavaScript files. And we are also going to load JavaScript deferred, which eliminates render blocking JS on your site and it can improve the load time. Now, after you have done all this, make sure you click Save Changes. So just exactly what do all these settings do, and what do they do exactly when you're combining all of them, you're minifying and all that fun stuff. So maybe I'll create another video at some point to go in depth in explaining each of these settings. But for now, we're going to continue on, and we're going to go over to, let's see here, Heartbeat. Click on Heartbeat, and you're going to use this. So the Heartbeat is a WordPress API that is used by plugins, themes, and WordPress core. It works by consistently making requests to your server, which can impact the performance of your site. So in WP Rocket, you can control how often Heartbeat works. And I would recommend enabling Heartbeat control and setting it to reduced activity. So we're going to click on Control Heartbeat. Alright, back to the dashboard. Now, one thing I almost forgot to mention, you want to go to Media, and you want to enable for images, enable for iframes and videos, and replace YouTube iframe with preview image. So what this does is when you are scrolling down the page, the videos and images don't load until you're scrolling. This is going to definitely make your website run faster, especially if you have a lot of high quality images and videos, which I have. And also you're going to want to disable WordPress embeds. This prevents others from embedding content from your site, prevents you from embedding content from other not allowed sites, and removes JavaScript requests related to WordPress embeds. And other than that, I also downloaded Imagify, and I just set it to ultra optimization level. Settings are already there by default. That's good. That's where I want everything. Now let's see if there's anything else we can change in WP Rocket. And yes, you want to go to database. Notice I have some revisions that I don't need. Trash posts that are in there. Let's see, transients. And we're just going to save changes and optimize. And typically you want to back up your website before doing that, but I already had my website backed up. So with everything done, let's go ahead and check out our score in GTmetrix. As you can see, we now have an A letter grade for the page speed score and Y slow score, and a fully loaded time of 2.2 seconds, total page size 1.98 megabytes, and 24 requests. Guys, this is way better than what it was, and I'll be honest, there was one thing that I did change with my website, is I ended up taking away the video background and replacing it with an image instead. I realized that the YouTube background I was using was in 4K. It was just taking up way too much space, and it was just ruining my load time. So I will admit that I did change that for the background. But other than that, guys, I would say WP Rocket made a huge difference in my site's performance. So WP Rocket has extensive amount of documentation, all available directly within the plugin itself. Even has some tutorial videos you can look at. And with cache preloading, the cache is built even if that specific page hasn't been visited, when you typically have to wait until someone visits your page for the cache to be built. So WP Rocket makes it possible with the single click in the settings. WP Rocket has amazing database optimization, and all I can say, guys, is I highly recommend this. How would I rate the support? Although I have not had the pleasure of calling their support team, supposedly 92% of their customers rate their support as great, which is enough for me to stand behind this product. So I love the interface, as long as you know what the settings mean, or have watched a tutorial like this one to understand which ones to click. I would say the only drawback is the pricing. Now, if you look at the features, it's the all-in-one package. This is why I highly recommend this, guys. Now, let's look at the pricing, though. You will have to pay $49 for one website, $99 for 3 websites, and $249 for unlimited websites. Other than that, overall, I would give a solid 8 out of 10 for newer developers or developers on a budget, just because of these prices. And I would give a 9 out of 10 for expert developers, because for newer developers, installing this plugin can be a little daunting, because you have to install it separately into WordPress, while also costing you some money and time and research for the best settings. With that said, expert developers will most likely know more about caching and have familiarity over the settings, and will love the interface as opposed to the other plugins. So, in conclusion, WP Rocket is definitely worth the money and by far one of the best caching plugins to date. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.